definitely worth it.
We need time to welcome. Yeah, we are
extreme. A shortcut to your dreams. A go straight to the stars.
That's usually how
flying thing. Get the snowblind games. Pikachu and Chickapoo in the world beyond. Got a beat, got a heat on the phony string. Tear your world apart. Once the magic starts. What's going on must come down. Baby, I'm losing ground. Dancing with your blinkers on. Throw your dog the invisible bone. And put your jet in gear. Anything to get you out of here. Gotta go hit that ride to the setting sun. Gotta leave this mess behind. Gotta cruise on the blues. Got a life to find. What you need is to read on a dotted line. Welcome to the show.
And this is the show.
Picture this. Two guys trapped in the South Charleston Public Library. One guy loves movies, and the other, well, he'd rather be watching reality TV. Can they survive each other's films? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies, hosted by Josh and Aaron from the South Charleston Public Library.
Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever live show of Real Opposites. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And we are a library podcast that talks about movies. We have guests today, our producer Toby and our library director Todd. And today we will be talking about Conan the Barbarian and Masters of the Universe, neither of which I chose. I just want to throw that out there. But I guess we will go ahead and dive into Conan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conan's my choice, and it's like my third favorite movie of all time. So,
What's your first and second?
Yeah.
what's my first and second? Jaws, and
That's a good
Superman the
choice.
movie.
I thought it was just going to be Jaws for
It's
both.
Jaws, and then Jaws again.
Jaws and Jaws
then
again.
Conan. No, no, I love this movie to death. Everything about it. It just the score, the Arnold, the feel of it. It's just totally unique. So, what did you think about it?
Me?
Yeah,
want me to
you.
go
No,
first?
no. I'll tell you, I'll just go talk about it for another half hour.
You ready for that?
We're good.
Well, definitely not my kind of movie. I mean, I could see why people like it, I'm sure. But it didn't help that in the beginning, the first thing you have, which I did not know was James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Right? Plays the bad guy.
Tulsa
whatever.
Doom.
Yeah, sure.
Tulsa Doom.
Plays that guy. And do you have that picture of his hair?
I do.
Because that was the movie for me, was just this picture, and only because the only thing I could picture for the rest of the movie
We do have visual aids. Sorry, guys.
is you cut it has the best part cut
Oh, I'm
off.
sorry.
But the only thing I could think of for the rest of the time was Courtney Cox in Scream 3. So they have the same haircut. So for me, the whole entire movie, which I'm not going to lie, helped me get through it. I just pictured Gail Weathers as the bad guy. So that helped.
That's really funny.
But it's one of those like adventure type movies, or that's what I would call it. Kind of like Princess Bride, but I liked Princess Bride. And I could see why people like it. I've now seen it, and I can say that.
Yeah.
And that's probably all I would
All
probably
you're gonna
say.
say?
Well, speaking of like his hair, and the reason I like it so much is because it's like that's like an interesting choice for him.
Sure is.
You know, because it's like just straight and black, and he has these really like bright blue eyes. And they're it makes him look just like. It's a really easy way to just show that he's not quite human. You know.
I guess that's true. So Gail Weathers wasn't either?
I don't know. Probably. I haven't seen the last one.
So That was in 3.
I know, but I haven't seen
Oh,
the
I get what
I
you're
don't know.
saying.
It could be a big reveal in Scream 6.
Right. It's okay. Todd, you watched the movie.
I did.
What's your opinion on Conan?
I loved it. I think it's a great movie. Seen it a couple times now. I hadn't seen it in years up until recently. But yeah, it's a great film. I love the haircuts as well. I think there are a couple weird haircuts throughout the movie. I chose the
there were
movie
choices.
Masters of the Universe, so I think it's the poor man's Masters of the Universe. If I'm being honest.
You're wrong.
Yeah, you're in the minority
You
on that
are.
one, buddy.
Directly wrong.
Is he?
He is.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
Maybe not at this table though.
Well,
So both of you like the movie. What?
yeah.
Like, tell me one scene that's just so epic that makes this movie
I mean,
worth
there's
watching.
There's several. The one that Toby's got up right now is like the Wheel of Pain sequence.
Yeah, I'm gonna scooch us.
And that's like one of my it's one of my favorites in the movie. It's
Long.
just like the
Yes.
It's super long.
look, Masters of the Universe is shorter, somehow feels longer and more torturous
Then
than
20
anything
years
in,
on the Wheel of Pain.
yeah. I love that this sequence is like the greatest visualization of like Darwinism, just survival of the fittest, and it's just like everyone else is pushing the wheel and they eventually fall off and die, but Conan keeps pushing, and then he ends up Arnold at the end because he pushes for like 10 years or whatever.
Well, I didn't catch all that, but
How did you not?
I mean, I saw him walking.
Yeah, and then he's the only one at the end of the scene.
Oh,
See?
that makes
Every kid
sense.
has to get-
This is visual storytelling here.
Well, it was. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of a long scene, so therefore it lost my interest.
I think it's like
and I had to
we're at like
rewind
45
it.
seconds.
Yeah,
is like
well,
the scene.
I had to rewind it,
It's
so I had to watch
actually
it
a minute and a
twice.
half to Aaron's scene. It's a long scene.
See?
But it's like the music and the visuals and everything. It's just
Super uplifting.
I
It's a
will
great scene.
say, like, cinematically, like, I feel like when you think about fantasy, right, Conan is the benchmark from which all, like, modern fantasy stems, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a minute and 47 seconds. I just wanted to prove that to myself
Yeah, it's a
first. But, so it's like, it's the benchmark from which we get all modern fantasy. When you watch, like, the scenes of, like, him and Subutai, like, running through we were talking about, like, how that pulls directly into, like, later scenes in Lord of the Rings. But also, like, and even, the Conan source material predates Lord of the Rings. And, and The Hobbit in the 30s. So it's just kind of like, it is our benchmark for, like, where all things stem from and, like, how we get our ideas of what fantasy
Yeah.
is today. Like, even
And-
the music and the setting and all that.
Yeah, I mean, in the movie, like along with the Excalibur from a year before, is kind of like those are the first real serious, like, adult fantasy films, that are made for that aren't childish or like fairy tales, So I just love how just big and brash and operatic the whole thing is, and the music is just it's like the best film score ever.
It's a big open world.
It is, yeah. And they go and they explore it really thoroughly, and everything, like the texture of the film is really, you can feel that they really thought a lot about it, and like from the costumes to the sets to the, the actors they chose, it just, I don't know, feels iconic.
What about you, Todd? Do you have like a favorite scene?
I do.
What is it?
My favorite scene, I think Toby has it.
I do.
It's
One
when
second. It's right here.
Conan is trying to walk down into a cave.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Here we go. We have Todd's favorite scene. Right.
He's being chased by these dogs. I just like his
Those
vocals.
sound effects, yeah.
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 That just cracked me up when I saw that.
I mean, I've never fallen down stone stairs being chased by dogs, but I feel like it would be a little more painful than what that sounds.
Maybe a little higher pitched
Yeah.
also.
In my research for the film, I was reading about those dogs, and like he was really running from those dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
that's
they had
scary.
actually attacked their trainer that same day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they were not the most well-behaved dogs.
so he really could have
Like-
been bit.
Yeah.
John Milius is like, and this is how you act, Arnold.
Dogs go.
But I love it, like, and that's one of the things. Like this, the film, it really works with no, like you could cut out all the dialogue and it works. Like that scene, dogs chase him in there. He falls down, finds a sword, comes back up, cuts his chains, and the next scene, he's wearing the dogs.
Yeah, I follow up with what dialogue? I think Arnold has a grand total of 24 lines in this movie.
And they all matter.
They do all matter. They're all really important lines.
I mean, I will agree in the fact that you probably don't need a lot of dialogue for this movie. And good thing, because honestly, I couldn't understand half of what they were saying anyways.
Me and my father picked wild blueberries.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just know I was lost, but thankfully the visual was a story of itself. But I mean, there are some, and I don't know that I told you to pull any of these, but I mean, there's definitely some
Surprise.
scenes like the woman he's with towards the beginning, she like turns into some kind of snake
The wolf
monster or
witch.
Oh, the
something.
witch.
The witch.
Oh,
The
I don't
witch.
know. He threw her in the fire. I know
He
that.
threw her over the fire.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I love that you can see the effect in that scene, right? Like, she's supposed to go to the fire, and she goes through it, and you can
Yeah.
see her on the other side, like, landing. I feel like
That's
it's a
what
really
I'd-
cool, like, input into, like, how visual effects worked at the time and stuff.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
I mean, I guess I just don't understand how she died.
Then she like, well,
'Cause
she
she
doesn't really die because she's like turns into like whatever the ball of light and goes
Oh, that's
Everyone's
right.
out, you know.
Yeah.
And I like that like that stuff is like, so all that's like hand animated, and like later on in the movie when they're reviving Conan and like all the demons are
Okay.
you know, are trying to take him to the underworld and everything. Like all
Oh,
that,
that is a scene I told
do
you to
have
pull.
that.
Yeah.
That was my next point. Yeah.
like all that stuff is just so cool looking. Like it's just really heavy metal and rad.
Yes.
I thought it was
They're like
ridiculous.
super like ripped ghosts
Yeah.
for some reason, and at the end,
Really? Okay.
yeah.
Well, I had her pull it because I thought it was ridiculous and I was going to make fun of it.
Okay.
But
Go make fun of it.
Go.
Do it.
Do it.
no,
Come
I mean,
on,
I just
make
thought,
fun of it.
I guess I didn't think it was cool that
All
the
the
ghosts
gods
were
they cannot
some kind of
separate.
weird drawing and ripped. I don't know. I just found it very weird.
Yes.
I thought it was
And they're
gross
all
that
like
was a twist.
holding on, and like there's a twister, which is totally a
The
better
Yeah.
movie.
spirits of the dead trying to
Yeah,
take
they're trying
him
to
away.
take him to hell.
They definitely explain
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
see, I thought they were. I
'cause
thought
he-
that was the gods that were bringing him back.
no.
No.
No. God, Aaron.
this. They explain it. He goes, the spirits of the dead will try to take him, and if they succeed, and she goes, then you will follow him, and
Yes.
like makes it
Oh.
very clear she
Well,
intends to murder the.
Well, if you
sorcerer
remember,
if
I
he
just
messes
said
this up.
I couldn't understand half of what they were saying.
When you need subtitles, I'm sure they had them on the DVD.
That would have been
Yeah.
smart. I do.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I love Conan and Valeria's relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's like very primal and
Is that the girl that dies at the end?
That is
Yeah.
Valeria who
Oh, yeah.
becomes a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
But yes, she does die at the end. Sorry, there are spoilers. Her speech, which I did pull, where he talks about, where she talks about coming back from the like edge of death for him,
yeah.
is actually borrowed from a different Conan heroine in the books and comics, and it's borrowed from Beylit. And she is, you know, in the comic and book universe known to be Conan's first and truest love is
Yeah.
Beylit. So they pulled some of her lines for Valeria because they're not her lines in
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, they kind of pull from like
Okay.
all over Robert E. Howard's writing because like Thulsa Doom's a Cull the Conqueror villain, and there's other things like they're all Robert E. Howard, but they're all just like kind of changed and morphed in the movie.
Yeah, well, and a lot of what we know of Conan isn't directly from the Howard stories anyway.
Yeah,
a lot
'cause
of it
there
is
was-
the comics that follow.
Yeah, it was the Roy Thomas comics in the 70s, and those were just as big as the Robert E. Howard stories in the 30s and 40s.
There were a lot of people when this movie came out that absolutely hated it
Well,
because Conan
people are
becomes
dumb.
because Conan isn't as strong as the Conan you get in the books, and the like he loses fights and he
Well, yeah.
yeah,
So,
which isn't
He.
yeah.
Okay.
well, I mean, this is like is young Conan too.
Yeah.
So this is like him
Oh.
just getting revenge for his parents, and you know, for all the the pain he's been going through. But so I have this theory that the best Arnold movies are the ones where he is the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
So Conan, Predator, T2, like
Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop. He
Jingle
does
All
get
the
shot
Way.
by a grandmother, so. But those are like when you present Arnold as this larger than life character, and then you have something else that's stronger and more capable than he is. It just ups the stakes so much and makes it more intense and suspenseful. you know?
Right. I will say there was a lot of beheading in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm a fan
Yeah.
of beheading, so that's cool.
The Tulsa
but-
Doom beheading is it's one of the coolest ones because it's like it's not like he cuts it at the shoulder, like
Yeah.
he holds the
Oh,
head
at the end?
and cuts his like I
Yeah.
don't know I
Throws
don't
it.
know how to describe that. Yeah, and it throws
Yeah.
it.
So there's-
It
and
was-
then it disappears from frame.
Yeah,
was-
That's one of those
um,
movie splubs that they do.
It was very painful watching Gal Weathers die. And Conan the Barbarian.
Again.
But I think one of my favorite, I don't know if he actually beheads it, but one of my favorite deaths would have to be when he's tied up and he eats the bird.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
He kills the bird by biting it.
When the buzzard's pecking at him, and
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah, that was quite a scene.
I love for a minute
Um,
you think he's like having a mirage vision of Supatai.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Supatai is there.
Do we know the death count for Conan?
I don't know the
Oh.
death count for Conan. It's less than other Arnold movies.
oh yeah, because I mean, there's
Less than Commando. That's where we'll put it.
yeah,
Less
Commando's
than
like 250 or something.
Less than Commando.
But
there aren't any automatic weapons in Conan, so
It is probably high though.
it's,
I mean,
it's more
even
difficult with a sword.
I thought it was interesting. They have Conan have to hack at Thulsa Doom's neck a couple of times. So they definitely have Valyria just straight up decapitate someone in
Oh,
one
yeah.
sweep earlier on.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I love that whole
but
that
that's
whole
why she
sequence.
becomes about.
I will say, and I'm assuming they used probably a lot of practical effects for their
Yeah, I mean, this
deaths.
is 1982.
Yeah.
There's
So-
no
As you've made me watch all these super exciting old movies, that is one thing that I've figured out that I like is when they use these practical effects, because like the deaths in this movie, I enjoyed those.
yeah, because I mean, there's just like it's on set. The only
Yeah.
thing that's really, I mean, I think there's a couple matte paintings, and then there's the hand animation for stuff like the demons and the wolf witch thing, but that's about it. Everything else is on set.
What did you
And-
think of the Thulsa Doom sequence where he turns into the snake?
Oh, it's awesome.
I thought that was a really cool practical.
I like that.
device.
It's really simple. Like they just have like a latex mask, and then they're just pushing through it,
Mm-hmm.
like as like the snake's coming out of him, and then they just cut. Like it's just all made like precise cuts to the music, like cut, and then now he's got snake eyes, and then the next
Right.
cut is like pushing out, and the next cut he's just a snake, and it's kind of like more interesting to watch than some elaborate CGI thing.
That also brings up another point that I thought was so ridiculous, but I mean, I guess it makes sense in the movie, is every time he would use his bow and arrow,
It's a snake.
it was a snake.
It's
So
awesome.
Yes.
he did some kind of magic to make it like stiff.
Yeah.
And then he shoots people, and then the snake becomes alive again.
I wrote a note,
Yeah.
snake arrows. Like,
Yeah,
I thought that was
that's
great.
mine.
Yeah, it's
that's what
awesome.
mine says. Snake
He's
arrows.
like-
He just whispered "seek" and then
Yeah.
In fact,
the magic snake arrows.
because of my ADHD and not being able to watch it, sometimes when girl dies,
Valeria.
yeah, when she gets shot,
Hey,
I had to
audience,
rewind
do you
it
guys know how many
because
times
I
we've
saw
said
her-
Valyria?
I saw like her get shot, but then I saw them taking a snake out of I thought her like outfit, and I was like, I do not understand what's going on. So I had to rewind that and watch that again, which I think is the first time he uses the snake, or at least that I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he tries
So
to
it
shoot.
caught me off guard for sure.
Yeah, then he tries to shoot the princess at the end of the movie.
And they
Yeah.
were like, he was close enough to shoot her with an arrow. Why didn't they just go stop them at that point?
Well, I don't
Trace them down.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Like
they weren't
in-
on. They weren't on like the first time.
Well, that's
They weren't on horseback. I mean, Conan and Valeria were on horseback, and they were just like coming out of the cave.
so
like
if
they
they
were-
were
they
were
were-
coming.
What is it?
If they knew they were coming, they could have headed them off. But then again, we wouldn't have had like a whole nother hour to watch
No.
if that happened.
Wait.
I
no.
know, right?
Okay.
This movie should have been 4 hours long.
You'd be all right. I
Oh.
could take 2 more hours of
Yeah.
this Conan.
I could
don't
take
know
another
about
whole
Conan the
series of
Destroyer.
Conan if they were like this.
Is Conan Destroyer number 2?
It is
It's
the
not.
sequel.
Yeah, and it's
I
not good.
think I should make you watch that.
So let's put this
I've
in, like,
seen it a million times.
in context, like, this is probably one of the greatest fantasy movies of all time.
Yeah.
And just because of what it did for the genre, and also, like, it is a solidly good fantasy movie. It now, if we're looking at it through the lens of modern looking back, like, it feels slower than something like the Lord of the Rings movies or
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it's not really.
No, if you just like look at the narrative and like if you just like outlined it, a lot happens in the movie and it's like pretty perfectly paced.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. I was just thinking about this earlier. Like it doesn't really. I mean, there's the way it's shot is more leisurely, but it's for what happens in like the 2 hours and 7 minutes it's a lot of
2 hours
progression.
and 7 minutes is a lot.
But what I was saying is, like, in the context of it's like one of the best fantasy movies ever, Conan the Destroyer doesn't make the list. Not even on there. No,
it's like a completely neutered.
If there's a list,
So like
it's
one
not
of
on
the one of the things that they did in this was like, so when they hired Arnold, John Milius, the director, was like, because Arnold was like, oh, I need to like cut and like get really cut because I'm playing Conan. He's like, no, I want you a little bit more fat on you, and he does, like he looks he's just bigger. And then the second one, he's like oiled up and cut and in a loincloth. He's like, it looks like Tarzan almost.
Yeah.
Like he's just more. It's more like cartoony.
Yeah.
And the movie's more cartoony. It's also PG.
Wow.
It's just not as good. I mean, it's an okay little 80s fantasy movie.
It has Wilt Chamberlain in it.
Yeah, and Grace Jones.
I don't know
So
who
that's-
either of those people
Grace
are.
Jones is great.
Yeah, she's
Like,
great.
her character's awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. I mean, there's good things about it, but also, can we talk about how awesome Thulsa Doom is? Just
Yeah.
like
Actually, I have a scene for that.
yeah, like the power
Yeah.
scene.
You mean his hair?
I love.
It's kind of a long one, but we'll go with it anyway. We have time.
I love how they just like condense like every madman and dictator in history into this one character.
And give him a little extra sass, just for
Yeah.
good measure. Like,
Are we talking about the bangs?
Yeah, like what he says
into
here
my
is like,
house.
that's just
Stole my property.
that's
Murdered my
what
servants
every
and my
dictator
pets.
thinks.
And that
Like,
is what grieves me the
Flesh
most.
is power.
murdered my pets, and that's
You've
what
killed
grieves me
my
the most. He just
Yeah.
listed all the people he murdered.
Thorgrim
Yeah.
is beside himself with grief. He raised that snake the time it was born.
You killed my mother.
You killed my
You killed my father. You killed my people. You took my father's sword. Ah.
When I was
Like,
young,
just like so, like, oh, okay. Yeah,
there was a
maybe I
time,
remember that.
boy, when I searched for steel.
I've killed a lot of people, but
Steel
Sure,
meant
I
more
guess.
than even gold or jewels.
The rebel of steel.
Yes. You know what it is, don't you, boy?
You have commentary.
Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
It's the least I can do.
I don't know.
Steel
I never
isn't
feel like what
strong,
everybody else
boy.
feels during these things.
Flesh
Like most people are like,
is
"Oh, it's so
stronger.
powerful,"
Look
and
around
I
you.
just want them to like kind of get to the
He's
to the
circular.
point.
but this is the point.
This is the point.
I guess.
This is the point.
Beautiful
Yeah.
girl.
It's about to be the point.
It's just like, come.
Come to me, my child.
That's such a good scene.
Yeah,
It is.
Just like
I
the
don't
con-
think I saw that the first time.
The control you can have over people to just
That
go against their
is
best
strength,
interests
boy.
and die for you. Like that's
Power. The strength
that's
and
at the
power.
core
That's
of
a
any
great cult
madman.
leader right there.
Yeah, he's a
great what?
He's
Cult
a great
leader.
cult leader. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Cult.
cult leader. Yeah.
I aspire to be one
It's
of
a
those.
great depiction of like the kind of power that he has and holds.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is the like so it's the riddle of steel, which is important in the Conan myth. Those are the things here, which I'm gonna do. All right, so we'll do the riddle of steel, my friends.
What are you talking about?
Which is more powerful, steel or flesh?
Flesh.
Flesh.
Will is the actual answer. The answer is
Oh.
the force of your will, which is not.
I failed.
It's a trick riddle. Turns out you failed. You don't get to go to Valhalla. Crom will laugh at you
Oh.
and cast you out. But yeah, The riddle is still there. As the answer is will. It's the force of your will. Neither is more powerful.
All right.
Yeah.
So you thought it was all right?
You thought it was okay. Let's get let's get there.
I mean, since I had to watch it, it was better than like Mulholland Drive or some of the other movies you've made me watch. I mean, I could see like if somebody else was watching it, I might like look at it every once in a while.
So you watched.
But I would never watch it again.
You watched the new. No, the rest of us haven't seen it, and no spoilers. But you watched the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on a
Did it come out?
like so.
No, it's not. I think it comes out this
He saw a
weekend.
special screening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look
So-
at you.
So where
Fancy.
better or worse? Was Conan better or worse in your opinion?
Oh, way worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're
What?
almost certainly wrong. I haven't
Oh,
seen
look,
it yet,
I haven't even seen
but
it.
almost certainly
But look
wrong.
at that, like
The
the
other
trailer
one was funny.
The
I don't
trailer
know.
was so cringy.
I
Oh my
mean,
God.
All right. Well,
Didn't
Again.
have Zac Efron in
I'm gonna
it.
get up and leave.
No, I don't know who was in it.
And
I don't know
has-
actors.
It's Chris
Zac Efron?
It's-
Pine.
it's Chris
Chris
Pine.
Pine and Michelle Rodriguez and
Yeah,
some people. I
it
don't
was
know.
good. But
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, this is just like one of those. It's like an epic movie. It feels like it goes on forever, and it's this big story about revenge, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I just,
those never work.
I guess.
yeah, that's not a plot that exists for a reason and gets repeated continuously.
But yeah, that's my thing. It's just that.
Shakespeare had no idea what he was doing.
Well, I mean, overall, it was all right. It was.
Okay.
It was watchable.
I think that's what we expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually expected you to hate it even more because I was
don't-
watching it several times. I'm like, oh, he's gonna hate this. This
Yeah.
is like, oh, this shot's like longer than 4 seconds. He's gonna hate it.
There were a lot of
I
long
was
shots. That's what I
texting
was
Josh the whole
saying.
time. Aaron's gonna hate this.
Yeah, that's what she was
Oh,
saying.
he's gonna hate it.
I mean,
he's gonna hate it.
there's a lot of long shots, and I just can't pay attention that long. So, like this scene with the speech, I was like, just tell each other you killed people and get to it. The beginning, the
Well, why are you even watching the movie then?
Because you made me.
And then as a result, you miss him like telling a girl to kill herself and her doing it.
Yeah, I
because you
did miss
zoned
that
out.
part, I think.
Yeah.
Where she jumped just
Well,
now.
it's difficult when your eyes are closed.
Yeah, well, I didn't. Hey, give me some credit. I did not fall asleep during this one. I just, I have some attention issues.
Okay. Well.
He does
Okay.
tend to fall asleep.
Yeah, like the.
The only time
entire-
I do sleep is when you make me watch movies.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Good prep work.
So, but you guys both like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming you like
Yeah.
it. All right.
Yeah, you're wrong on this one.
Yeah.
Um,
So
one of the best.
All right. So
All
I
right.
guess we'll dive into Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Which you brought us
this
this
is Todd's baby.
glorious prop right here.
Yeah.
This is Skeletor.
So I've been on the podcast this third time,
This will be number 3.
number 3, and I have I brought props.
this is one
for
of
each
his
one.
like 148 Skeletors.
Figures that he owns.
That
Yeah,
line
I've
his
got a-
office.
I've got a lot, but this is actually live.
A
so I
lot's
can
an
show you.
understatement.
I was gonna say you have brought props every time, and this is the only time anybody but us can
they
see
mattered
them.
at all. We did
We do
troll
not
too, and
do
he
v-
brought milk, and we were like, "What? This is a podcast."
Like it makes a
Todd.
lot of
Like, no one
sense,
can
but
see this.
nobody could see
I
it.
I just wanted the reaction.
Yeah, we never do videos, so it's just. But I mean, it helps. It helps to have something to look at, I guess.
Yeah.
So, this is one of your favorite movies, or your favorite? I'm not.
It's hard to say it's like one of my favorite movies because it is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very nostalgic for it. But it's the only Masters of the Universe movie we have.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Yes. They've been trying to make, Masters movies for like the past 10 years,
Yeah.
and something happens and they don't get the property, or there's one in development right now for
Yeah.
Netflix. So hopefully that will be better than
Like
this.
live action?
Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't think people are gonna really touch Frank Langella's like Skeletor. He really kills it. Like
His-
every line.
His voice is great.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
perfect.
it's just a shame about the mask.
Well, that mask. Well, he said this is one of his favorite roles he's ever played.
Is he? Well, he gets to choose scenery the whole
and,
time.
Yeah, and then also the mask has been reused in some other movies
Oh, yeah?
and
Star
TV
Trek.
shows. Yeah,
Has
Star
it?
Trek I think was one of them. I took a
Oh,
screenshot,
okay.
but of course I can't find it.
Yeah, like all the. That's what I noticed when I was watching it again last night. Was like how all the, like he's really trying to act through that thing. Like you can tell he's like really over exaggerating his expressions, and they're just not coming through. It's just like, and it's that same thing with what's his name, Will, or the little guy,
Gwildor?
Gwildor.
It's like he just can't. It's just like a flat
he's a
latex
puppet.
mask. Yeah, and there's no emoting out of that thing, and it's just. But I mean, that's the way the movie was made. It was made really cheap and on a tight schedule and budget. And
Every line, though.
but yeah, every line,
Good.
like
I mean,
the writing for him is good.
Mhm.
The thing I was noticing the last time I watched it was how there's like no context for anything. It just starts and I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of this is. Like at least in like I think you get like somebody saying something like a couple sentences.
Oh,
But
here.
it-
I have that. I have
Do
the
you?
opening scene. I do.
At the center of the universe, at the border between the light and the dark, stands Castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
For countless ages,
That's
the
a mad-
sorceress
that's a
of
mad
Grayskull has
Oh, wow,
kept
I
this
didn't know.
universe in harmony.
It's a what?
It's a matte
And
background.
the capture
It's a
of
matte painting, it's a
Grayskull is
painting.
evermost in
Right.
their minds.
So that's what they used to do in
Those
films
that
before
control Grayskull
digital
will
was,
come
if they
the
wanted to
power.
extend the
The
set,
power to be
it was
Like in Princess Bride.
yeah, it was a
Power to
painting
be
on glass,
almighty.
and
The
they would
power
shoot
to
the-
be masters of the universe.
And suddenly we're in Star Wars.
Yeah, but it's like budget disco Star Wars
Yeah. It
slash
definitely
Superman
is.
the movie kind of titles.
Skeletor's entrance, which I did not put in here, is literally like shot for shot
Oh, yeah.
our Darth Vader entrance from Star Wars, including all of the soldiers look like
Yeah,
stormtroopers.
they're just black
in
stormtroopers. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like it's just this weird amalgam of just influences that shouldn't come together in a cheap movie.
I did have that written down because even I noticed that. I thought everything looked like Star Wars troopers or whatever. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if they like just reused those costumes or something. I don't
Well,
know.
I think
Is
as
it
like
different?
a child of the 80s, growing up watching the cartoon, we expected a lot in this movie, but the Filmation's the company that actually makes the cartoon. They weren't involved in this movie whatsoever. So we didn't get any of the morals or
The history,
the
mythology.
history, mythology. It's set place on Earth,
Yeah.
of all things, and it just kind of really took away from the movie. It should have been set on Eternia, which is where the cartoon is set.
Yeah. One of my funniest little moments is like when it's like when Skeletor comes to Earth in this small little town that probably didn't cost that much to rent the street for the night. There's it's like there's like a crane shot of his ship like coming down the street. It's pretty pathetic because there's like 8 guys
It
and
looks
like a little thing,
parade float.
Yeah.
but then there's just this station wagon in the back that's just driving the other way.
I'm seeing if I have that one.
Well,
It's
most
like that's where the set ended. Like there's like this person just going to this department store or going to the grocery store.
happens to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Most of the buildings in this movie are no longer there. They were destroyed by an earthquake.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
sad.
Just a little fun fact for you.
I don't know. That's a fun fact. That's a sad fact.
It's a sad fact.
what-
So,
Charlie's music. Isn't
oh, what
there
were you going
anymore.
to say?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What did you think of the movie?
Me?
Yes.
Well, it's another sci-fi movie. It's another one of those epic type movies, I think.
Is it epic?
But I don't know. Honestly, I started this one right after I finished Conan, and I felt like I was watching the same movie because they're just kind of too similar for me.
I mean, that's kind of intentional.
Except I enjoyed Masters of the Universe more. A lot more.
Good man.
I don't know how
But I
fun
also enjoyed that it was set on Earth. I thought that was interesting.
It's just like because
But,
Gail
I mean,
Weathers
I
was in
don't. Once again, with everything you guys make me watch, I don't have that nostalgia for it. So for me, it was just some kind of little superhero movie on Earth, and I think it was cool that they mixed that. Like, I don't know.
So
it. Just feels like they ran out of money.
And they
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
They
I thought it was cool. I mean, I thought there was
And
a
like
lot of good stuff in it.
they spent a lot of money on like the sets in Grayskull, like the set for like when Skeletor's in Grayskull and everything.
The one that looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
but painted.
Yeah,
old-timey, yeah.
but the inside's really cool. Like the
It is
set's
cool.
really good.
It's like 2 giant rooms.
Yeah, and like I think that's where all the money went. So
I will say I don't think I'd watch either one of them again, but I just enjoyed this one a little more. There were definitely better haircuts, but Courtney Cox is actually in this one.
she is.
Yeah, Courtney
So
Cox is in this
we
one.
do get actual Courtney Cox instead of James Earl
It was
Jones
their first film.
like Courtney. Yeah, I kind of
Her
assumed
haircut's
that. I
much
didn't know
better
that
in
for
this
sure.
one.
Yeah.
Yes,
Than it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
in
that's
Scream
much
3.
better than the
Without the
ugh.
baby bangs.
but we always seem to find like this weird common thing, and I thought it was hilarious. In my mind, the common thing was Courtney Cox and Gail Weathers in both these movies.
You guys mentioned Star Trek earlier. We have a little tiny Star Trek cameo. Kevin, who is Courtney Cox's boyfriend in this one, is Tom Paris from the Voyager series. So he's pretty major. He's so forgettable in this movie that when you guys made a list of characters for me to find pictures of, you didn't even list him. And I was like, no, Tom Paris is in this. I
Yeah.
have to go find that.
It's
So,
just kind of
like,
generic 80s boyfriend.
He is generic 80s boyfriend, correct.
And like the whole thing with the whatever the tuning thing where they have to play it,
Cosmic
Mhm.
Key?
the cosmic key. Oh my god!
I loved that.
I
Now,
loved
is
it.
that in the cartoon?
No.
No.
Oh.
No.
That was a great addition.
So
Let's
I
assume that
love that he
nothing in
takes
this
it-
movie is in the cartoon.
Like He-Man's in the
besides
cartoon,
characters.
Skeletor's in the cartoon.
And-
Some of the like Evil Lynn,
Tila's in there.
Beast Man,
Man at Arms.
who just looks like somebody put an ape mask on a football player.
Most of the bad guys weren't in it.
Oh, okay.
Gwildor was made because Orko was like this on the cartoon series was this magician that flew around, and they couldn't do the CGI at that time.
Yeah.
So they replaced him with Gwildor.
What is his name?
Gwildor.
Gwildor.
Oh.
He's played by Billy Barty.
He was one of the Munchkins, I think, in Wizard of Oz.
I think so.
Yeah.
I really liked him. Now, I will say at the beginning,
You
I
also
always
really
have-
like Jar Jar Binks, so we'll leave
yes.
that in.
I've seen one Star Wars, and it's the one that he's in, and he was my favorite character.
I like Jar Jar
But I
Binks
felt
too.
like I related to him at that at that time.
Gwildor.
In my life.
Oh, Jar Jar.
no, yeah, Jar Jar.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that tracks.
Because I'm loud and annoying. Is
Yeah,
that it?
both of those things.
Hey, I'm self-aware.
I think one thing to point out is like Masters of the Universe was huge at this time.
Right.
Like it actually it's starting to decline. So like the toys they started in like 81, ended around 87 when this movie came out.
They were like, never mind.
They were like,
We
no.
moved on to turtles now. We're
But-
good.
But this is a $1 billion property.
Yeah.
In 1986, they sold over $400 million in figures.
Oh, wow.
The next year, 1987, they went down to $7 million.
Wow.
Ooh.
Now, did the figures come
Jesus.
first?
The figures came first.
I thought I remember that.
So the cartoon was created just
To sell the
figures.
toys.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of 80s, like G.I. Joe, like the cartoon series and stuff was just,
Yeah.
because the toys have been around for
But
years.
People really didn't do that until Masters of the
Yeah.
Universe.
Yeah.
Kind of spearheaded that.
Yeah.
You know, it's also an early example of something else.
Turbo Man and Jingle All the Way.
After credits.
Oh.
Oh,
We
yeah,
talked
the
about that.
post credit.
Yeah, it's one of the it's one of the first movies I've ever saw with an end credit scene in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we looked it up, and there was a handful like back in like
5 or
Yeah.
6 before.
Yeah.
It's also
Is this it?
Lame.
yeah. It's
What?
like-
I'm always for a post credits scene.
Well, it's literally just.
It's just. But
well,
it's an Arnold. But I mean, it is a Terminator like reference,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. True.
That's
It
where we're
is.
at.
His
I
lips
love
actually
it.
kind of look like Arnold too. Like it's like whatever for whatever reason, it's like oh.
I love a post credits scene, and I like when there's something like that. You wait, especially if you're doing it in like watching in a theater, you're sitting and you're waiting, and you're the last people in there while they're trying to clean, and then it's something ridiculous like that. None of y'all have seen Scream 6, but definitely stay for that end credit. But I don't think, judging by your response to that, I don't think you guys would enjoy it. But I don't know. I think it's a great thing. I love when movies have that.
Okay.
Cocaine Bear had 2.
I mean, generally, I think if you're gonna put
Also a really good movie.
post like they just if you shot it, put it in the movie. Otherwise, don't put it in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't even really know it was a thing until Marvel started doing it.
Yeah.
No.
So.
I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's fun, and it just gives you something that, like, if you're seeing it in theaters, it gives you something to have like an anticipation for.
And it gives you like a reason to stay and appreciate all the people who put the work into it.
Oh well, I
mean,
never
you know
watch.
what I mean?
I don't read that. I just wait until the scene starts.
I just think it's nice to
Yeah,
like
there's
encourage
thousands
people
of people.
to recognize like all the work that goes into a movie,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
We were talking about Gildor.
Wildor.
Wildor. Okay. I ended up liking him, but when the movie started and when I first saw him, it seemed like his hands moved weird and his mouth didn't move when he was talking.
That's a
But,
common
like-
thing in the movies. The mouths don't move when they're talking.
Well, later on in the movie, it looked like his mouth was moving fine,
Well,
but he ended up being like one of my favorite
They
characters.
glued the latex on better that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the real answer.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
they glued the
honestly.
latex on better that day.
I don't know. I thought this one was, for me, it just had more in it that was entertaining.
Well, it's a children's movie.
Yeah.
So it's
So
your
it's more,
your
it's,
target
more suitable, it's more
demographic.
suitable
I
for
didn't
you.
mean it like that. but-
I don't know, Todd. That's what it sounded like.
I mean, really, it's like if you're 7, this is pretty cool. Kind of. I don't know. Even if I was 7, I kind of remember watching this when I was a kid, but I remember being like, it's okay.
Were you
I don't know.
disappointed?
I remember being a little disappointed because it didn't have all the characters from the show.
I did see that they tried to get She-Ra. Is that
Yes.
is that a
movie-
person?
like
That's a
movie
person.
made?
No, in this movie, as
that
well
would be
as one
cool.
other character, and they got the rights to at least the She-Ra, and the rights to change her outfit to like a more space futuristic outfit, but then due to budgeting, they end up cutting all that.
Yeah.
Those characters.
Yeah.
So
So the budget.
you almost had more.
Like Canon Films made this, and they mostly made like kind of low budget action horror movies in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And by the time they get to this point, they had this and Superman 4, and originally both films were supposed to be budgeted at like $30 million, which is a good budget for both. And then they started going bankrupt.
Oh.
They're like, we'll just cut the budget in half for both, and it'll be fine.
Well,
And
that's
it's
what I
clearly
saw.
not.
They were making. I thought it said Spider-Man.
Yeah,
They had plans to make a really expensive Spider-Man movie, and they cut that budget in half. They made a cheap Spider-Man and a cheap Masters of the Universe, and the
Superman.
plan was to take the money from both of these. Oh, it was the Superman.
It was Superman. 'Cause they had like bought the rights. So what they would do is they would go to like film festivals like Con or whatever, and they would buy up the rights to certain properties, and then they would put like full page ads in magazines.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
And then they
it
would
is-
never make the movie because they ran out of money. But they were like, it was 2 friends who started this group from Israel, and there's a really great documentary called Electric Boogaloo, the story of Canon Films, and so I don't know. At this point, they had paid Stallone like some ungodly amount of money to make Over the Top and Cobra and something else, like $15 million or something. They paid him a lot of money.
Is Over the Top the movie we were talking about where
That's
he
a
like
movie,
arm
the
wrestling.
arm wrestling movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's canon.
It's come up on 3 episodes.
And, like-
I don't know how it keeps coming
And
up.
it's-
I understand how Scream gets on here so often because you're obsessed, but I don't understand how Over the Top keeps
And it's
ending
like-
up on the podcast.
It's a great movie.
I mean, it's a fun movie. But it's like they tried to like take something that was popular. So clearly like Over the Top would be like Rocky or something, and this is clearly like Star Wars or Conan or some sort of inspiration from that, and try to like kind of mold a film in that, but they have no idea what actually made those movies memorable, and so you end up with like this weird like amalgam of various films, and I don't know. It's unique, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you were right. It is Superman. So I guess what it was is they were going to make a nice Spider-Man. They took it, they split it, they
again,
made
Superman.
No, they were going to make.
They
a
were going to
Spider-Man.
make a Spider-Man.
Yes.
And they split it into Superman and Masters of the Universe, and then they were going to take the profits from those two movies to make their great Spider-Man movie.
Jokes
But
on them.
both of those movies bombed big time.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, the Spider-Man movie
Yeah.
was never made.
Well,
I'm-
I mean, this was at the tail end of the Masters of the Universe property. Like
Yeah.
it was
Right.
going downhill at that point.
Yeah.
It didn't come back until the early 90s. They started another animated.
Do you think they were trying to like revive it by creating a movie, or
I think
it
they
was just something somebody
I
wanted
think they
to
just.
do?
I mean, I think it was just something they got the rights to. That when they got the rights was popular. Like he said, like in '86, it was they sold $400 million worth of toys, and then '87 it was like $7 million. So, like when they bought the rights, it was like
It
huge.
changed.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
just in a couple of years, by the time they made this crappy movie, any audience is just being like, no, we're moving on.
I was just thinking of something else. The scene where they go up into space or wherever it is, and the cop accidentally gets with them, and he's so confused on what's going on. But then he's like, he says something like, I don't know, like, you can't mess with me. But it wasn't that. It was something else. And then he just starts like unloading his shotgun on people without having to load any bullets into it. I thought that was pretty epic.
He plays the same character as in Back to the Future as well.
Yeah, I mean he's a cop versus the principal, but it's like the same thing.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
pick up on that. Yeah.
It's like in Back to the Future too, when it's the alternate future where he does have a shotgun. That's like it's just him from that alternate future that got planted into Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
I love that he was so against everything and didn't believe any of it was going on, and then he decides to live there because now he has a throne and a woman.
Yeah.
And that was he was like, no, I'm staying here.
I'm good.
I'm good.
But
I'll be
he
here.
didn't even want to believe anything was going on in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, overall, I think this movie was fun. I don't know that I'd rewatch this either. Fantasy and sci-fi is just not my thing.
It's weird from someone who plays a lot of D&D.
I don't play a lot.
You play a good man.
Well, I mean, I never thought I'd play that either. But I don't know. It just doesn't capture my interest enough. But I did find certain things in this movie fun. So, like the Wildor.
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 There's a
How
G.
many times have we said it? There's
I
a G.
said Gildor earlier, and you said Wildor.
That's not right either.
No, that's not right.
You just said Wildor.
What are you saying?
Gwildor.
Gwildor.
Oh, so it's both those names just put together. Okay, well, Gwildor. I liked him. I liked the musical instrument to go to space. I loved that he was like, I don't know what this is, and he took it to a music store and was like, look what I can do. And then the guy was like, I have no idea what this is. Like, I just loved it. Just added like a.
The guy wants
For
to-
me, it was a
That whole
comedy thing.
That whole interaction is slow. He's like, yeah, I've seen one of those. And then he plays it and he's like,
No, I
I've
haven't.
never seen one of those.
Man, this musical instrument
What
really puts
is
out
that?
some cool
Where'd you get
holograms.
It was actually a cool prop, I thought. Like, it probably took a lot of time to build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean the Saturday afternoon that he spent making that. Really.
Man, you really don't like this movie.
No, don't.
I think it falls for me. It falls in the good kind of bad, right? Every actor in this movie was trying. They were all trying
Yeah,
to
I think
make a
so.
really good
Especially
movie.
the villain.
I didn't think there were
I think-
bad
Like Meg
acting.
Foster's
Yeah.
really great as Evil Lynn, I think.
I think
you
the
know.
only like bad thing about the movie is the plot, which is a big part of a movie.
I liked
but,
the
I
plot,
don't think
though.
the script is very good, but I thought that everyone did their best, and
Yeah.
that's always what I want in a B movie. I think that's one of the things that's good about. We love Troll 2. We love Troll 2. I'm just gonna say that for the whole
Yes.
table. And I think there's one of the things that's good about that is that all of the actors are trying. They're failing, but they're trying. And this one they're trying and somewhat succeeding, but it's just not enough to save it.
Yeah,
I
the
I think
acting's good. They just
Yeah.
had a bad script.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's just this one's like Troll 2 is so unique and weird
is.
and doesn't make any sense, and it's just like, wait, someone thought this was wait, what? But this is like it's more just run of the mill.
Yeah, I get
You
that.
know.
But I think it has it's fun.
Yeah.
So,
and-
thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'll give it a thumbs up for me, but not because it's
Oh
good.
yeah. So on the scale. on
Will I
the-
watch it? Yes. Is it good? I don't know.
On the real opposite scale, is it above or below Coyote
Oh, I'd
Ugly?
still rather watch this than Coyote Ugly. Now Frank Langella had popped into Coyote Ugly. I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Maybe it'd be good.
Let's have a
Just have
moment.
Skeletor ride his little, like, skiff from Return of the Jedi.
Let's have a moment of Frank
That's what it looks
Langella
like.
appreciation. Don't worry, we're about to pop the throne.
Oh yeah.
It's the God skeleton.
Where are your friends? Tell me about the loneliness of good, He-Man. Is it equal to the loneliness of evil?
I thought he was good.
Yeah, he's
I will say, when I first saw it, it doesn't exactly strike me as like Skeletor. I guess it was the cartoon Skeletor maybe. So that took away from it at first. But I don't know. I even got used to the
He's
mask.
just like, I lied.
He's so sassy.
That's totally an Arnold.
Yeah.
Remember when I told you I'd kill you last?
Well, I feel like
lied.
Skeletor is He-Man is obviously pulled from Conan, right?
Hey, you guys.
Right. Yeah. So.
What is it?
What is it now?
The connection between
Oh yeah, they both end in an.
No, that's not the connection. Jesus. No. That's,
What is the
that's
connection?
wrong. I mean, He-Man's.
he's Conan.
He is Conan.
He's
He's based on Conan.
Yeah, he's just
Like,
sci-fi Conan.
He's sci-fi Conan.
Oh,
when-
really?
When the original action figures were released, they came with these mini comics,
Mm-hmm.
and he's Conan.
Yeah.
He's Conan in those. And once the cartoon series started, like they came up with his like alter ego of Prince Adam and all that, which they didn't put in the movie.
No, but they did put him sounding like Sloth when he says it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
I
didn't
think-
know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't put that in the movie. I don't understand why you wouldn't put a Prince Adam transformation scene
No.
into
Yeah.
He-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole thing's just kind of like, half baked. Like they don't go full in on any of what
thought you were
makes
talking about the
He-Man
movie.
unique, or
Right.
they don't give you any context for what's going on, or like at least Star Wars, like you get the opening crawl that tells you who's what. And
Well, this
whatever.
told you about Grayskull.
I mean, it told me that there's like it's very vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
felt
know.
like I knew everything I needed to know.
Well,
Well.
But that's just
some
me.
of us pay attention though. We need more.
So that's why earlier when you were saying that he would be the only one that thought Masters of the Universe was better, that's why I said I think it's probably even.
Okay.
Because I would, if if somebody was going to torture me and they were like, oh, do you want to watch Conan for your torture or Masters of the Universe? I would watch Masters of the Universe
Okay.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I tell you what's great about Masters of the Universe is the Drew Struzan poster.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the poster for the movie.
Oh,
This one?
No, not that one. That's
No.
not
Oh.
the Drew Struzan. But it's like, he's the greatest poster artist ever, and the poster for the movie is amazing. It's just it's better than the movie.
I'll have to look it up.
Like you see the poster, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and
I had it at some point.
and it's like you see that poster, and you're
Surprise.
like, I want to see that movie, and then you go see the movie, and you're like,
No,
I
don't.
feel like I need to get a lawyer.
I was tricked into paying money.
Yeah, this is nonsense. That's not the movie. Nope. That's not the movie you delivered. But
Well,
Such a weird concept.
I think it was. I mean, it was interesting. I watched 2 more like sci-fi movies, so I have those under my belt.
yeah,
So, there's that.
You watched a fantasy movie and a sci-fi movie.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
they felt the same.
They are based
Um,
upon one another, but yes.
It was like literally, if I would watch them back to back, and it felt like the same movie. I don't know, but
Next episode.
yeah, that's what I was going to do. I think we're going to wrap it
Let's hope we
up.
get there, yeah.
Yeah.
So the next episode, at the end of every episode, we pick new movies that we have to watch and then talk about on the next episode. Josh, do you have a choice?
yeah. My pick for you is John Carpenter's 1988 film that could be made now and still be totally relevant. They Live, starring
Okay.
Roddy Rowdy Piper.
Ooh,
And
nice.
That's a good
Keith David and Meg Foster, who played Evil Lynn. It's one of my favorite movies. There's a little bit a lot to talk about,
Okay.
and I think you're probably gonna dig it because it's pretty
It sounds
it's
like
off kilter and weird.
It does sound like something that would be up my alley a little bit.
And I don't think you've seen many John Carpenter movies. You've seen like Halloween, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
That might be it.
Maybe that's
The
it.
Thing.
I don't
He's
know.
seen
The Thing.
We
Yeah, you've seen The
watched that.
Thing. So
Oh, yeah,
you-
'cause you
you've
made me
only
watch
seen
that.
a few of them. So
Which
I think
did
you'll
like that one.
Yeah. Well, it'd be hard not to like that movie because it's perfect.
All right.
'Cause it's perfect.
So what torture?
I was
do
gonna
have
say,
endure?
yeah. I mean, it's gonna. I mean, now I kind of feel bad because you're gonna pick a movie that I'm gonna like. But I've been picking so many serious movies lately. I figure
Have
maybe
you?
let's not talk about death or serial killers.
You picked one.
I know, it's like 2 or
I
3.
did
What was the?
the.
Oh, that's right. Shockingly Evil, and then the dead mommy dearest deadly whatever.
Mommy, Dead, and Dearest.
that
and
one.
Shockingly Evil, something vile,
Yeah.
whatever. So, so I'm gonna have you watch the epic masterpiece that is Tammy. God. It's a great movie with Melissa McCarthy and
Well, Todd, you're going to be the new opposite. So
No, I can't deal with both of them. You're gonna have to stay.
I mean, I think it's fun. I think it's hilarious. And I haven't really made you watch a comedy other than
Other
Mad
than
Money.
what? And
which is
17
also so
again.
good. Oh, those are good
and
too.
What was the other teen movie?
I didn't say teen movie. I said comedy.
It's the same thing.
Teen movies are definitely comedies.
Oh,
I guess.
Crossroads, but no, that's not. That was definitely not.
that wasn't
comedy.
funny. That's a serious matter. It has
Okay.
a lot of serious plot to it.
It, well, how it's like I said, how it's made
Anyway,
is more
Tammy.
important than what it is.
Yeah. So
Tammy, sure.
we will be watching It Follows. Is that what it is?
They
Yeah,
live.
They Live.
It Follows is good too. We can watch that.
Is
as
that a
well.
movie?
Yeah,
No.
it's great. It's a good
I have
horror
a
movie.
really bad memory.
Do we have those available at the library?
We
We
have both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have They Live. I'm pretty sure we have Tammy. We might not. It might get deleted.
We'll order
You
it.
might have deleted
know.
it, but
I
it's
might have
okay.
deleted it.
I will donate it.
It might get deleted in a
There's
couple
a-
weeks.
I mean, she's a very funny lady. In
I
my
like her, I
opinion.
like her more in her serious roles.
She-
The Can
she
You Ever
does do
Forgive
that.
Me is really great.
That is a really good movie.
St. Vincent was really
St. Vincent's
I need
really
to watch
good.
that.
Everything else I am not crazy about, but
maybe
those two movies are
maybe
pretty
just
good.
maybe you'll love this. It also has Kathy Bates and
I like Kathy Bates.
what's her name that plays the grandma.
Is
Anyways,
Goldie Hawn in this one? Or is that a different one?
no, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I don't know what movie that is.
Anyway,
Susan Sarandon.
Susan
Susan
Sarandon.
Sarandon. That's
Okay.
who I'm
The
thinking of.
audience
I like
is,
Susan
quick,
Sarandon.
is
Oh.
jumping in and helping us out here.
I heard noise. I didn't know what it was.
All right,
Susan
well,
Sarandon.
So anyway, so that will be the
I'll-
next episode.
I'll endure it.
What's the name of your movie again?
They Live.
They
It's
Live.
2 words.
I know, but for some reason I was going to say It
2
Follows
syllables,
again.
too.
So we will watch They Live and Tammy for the next time. But I guess until then, I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
and this has been We're Opposites.
All right.